1953, Martin Luther King Jr. married Coretta Scott. The couple moved from Boston to Montgomery, Alabama. He began pastoring the Dexter Avenue Church and was thrust into the forefront of the famous Montgomery bus boycott.
First met Martin when he organized the boycott in Montgomery. I got in my car with a couple of guys and drove to Montgomery because I wanted to see how he was making the boycott work. That was not an easy job to get black folk to boycott, but he got them to do it.
My understanding is this is the Brotherhood of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated giving Dr. King a check.
Phone rang. It was Frank Stanley. He said, "Jimmy, they just arrested Martin, and I want you to come up with an idea when they have his trial to let America know that Alpha Phi Alpha stands 100% behind Martin Luther King." Then somebody said, just to go down there and sit with him doesn't make any sense. Take some money to help him.
And in a very poignant letter that Dr. King wrote, he said nothing moved him more than to look in that courtroom and to look in the back and to see his general president and members of the fraternity in that courtroom.
But we were sitting right down below Dr. King, so that he could just look at us right like this. Being born and raised in the South, I'd heard every name in a book that we could be called, you know. I've seen the action that we had. I've seen people that had been lynched. I saw all of these things, so I was not surprised that they at no time ever said Dr. King or Reverend King or gave him any kind of respect. But I wasn't prepared. One of the lawyers said, "That Negro," you know, Martin was looking at us and he realized what we were about to do. But he reached over and said, "Cool it, brothers, cool it." He said, "This too shall pass." And that took the wind out of our sails completely.
With the boycott in full swing, Dr. King was asked to speak at the 50th anniversary convention of Alpha Phi Alpha, which was attended by the remaining living fraternity founders. King's speech was entitled "The Birth of a New Age." This rare look inside that day in 1956 has never been broadcast.
We will be able to move into this new world in which men will live together as brothers.
One of our initiatives was the 50th anniversary of the birth of the fraternity. Well, he wasn't very well known at that moment. But when he finished talking that Sunday afternoon to that packed audience, everybody knew who Dr. King was.
Actually, it was thanks to Alpha Phi Alpha that I met Martin Luther King. I had bumped into him casually and I had shaken hands with him after speeches. But we both got invited to Talladega College by the Alpha chapter there. And I always said that they invited him because he was already famous. And they didn't think he would come, so they invited me as a backup. But we both showed up.
Dr. King and Brother King vicariously inspired a movement in the hearts and minds of brothers across the country from 1956 until his death. And I think it may have been particularly evident during the student sit-ins when Alpha men, along with other students, courageously sat in and picketed and protested and marched to gain access and equal rights as a part of their civil rights.
Racial equality now seemed possible in the minds of African Americans. Dr. King answered the call and became the leader of a movement that transformed human rights activism around the world.